Hello and welcome back to part 2 in my series of Bonsai as a Verb. These, believe it or not, could look like little tiny trees. They are English ivy, and I got the idea for doing these little trees from Candace. So I don't know whether to thank you, Candace, or curse you, because these are a little tough to keep small. But I like a challenge, and I'm going to keep trying. So first thing I'm going to do is zoom up on it, and then we'll talk about why I'm doing this. I do want 3 little trees, and I like the idea of them growing in one container. So that's what I'm going to continue doing. So I'm just going to prune them up roughly, just so that I can tell where one starts and the other one ends. These are in bonsai soil, and they sure are healthy. I'm going to keep them in bonsai soil. I'm going to put them in a deeper container. I'll be able to separate them pretty well. Now, I know this grows from cuttings, but can't do it. So if you can see, there are three trees. I've got a structure going on each of them. Not the greatest structure. I think this is the front. And we'll arrange them in another pot. I'll show you that pot. Okay, my neighbor asked me if I wanted this pot. It's terracotta, I believe. It's kind of thick. May not survive the winter. It had no holes in it, but it's got this bellied bottom. So I drilled 4 holes on the outside edge so that when it's seeded, it still has room to drain. And I glued window screens in there, so those will stay. And I think that'll be perfect for these little guys. Now the reason I want this out of here is because I want this pot for another purpose. I'll show you that. I have my leptonella growing in the same pot, same type of pot, just a plastic pot, and they're doing so beautifully. And these are those miniature daisies, which are not looking so good because they've overrun this pot. So I'd like to transfer these into this pot, let them grow out to the side, and as you can see, they send out little runners, and that's how they expand. So I want to put those in this pot. And while this isn't a bonsai, this activity is to make a nice arrangement of something that I could use as an accent plant. Because these little daisies are adorable. And when there's a lot of them, they're pretty impressive. I think they'll spread out nicely in this pot. Of course, they'll go beyond that as well, and then I'll have to deal with it, but that's what I'm doing today. Now let me just see if I need to trim these down any further before I try to get them out of the pot. Believe me, they can look like trees. I've seen it work. I'd like to try and get more of a style this time and really think about how I'm planting these in relation to one another. Sorry, I had to take a call from my mom's assisted living. Everything's okay. She's just out of vitamin D3. Believe it or not, my mom is only on one medication, and she's 99 years old. The vitamin D3 is just a supplement recommended by her bone doctor, who says she's doing great. see, how long have these been in here? I think these have only been in here a year. Well, they wintered outdoors. Did they? No, I'm sorry. They were in the greenhouse in this pot. And I may do that again in the other pot, depending. Will this whole thing come out as a unit? I'm going to separate them. Here we go. I'm going to pull some roots out of the drainage screens, but I didn't put a screen along the bottom, the whole bottom, which was smart. This would have been a real mess. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this is in good bonsai soil. I'll go into time lapse while I separate these. And we'll come back when they're individualized. So this one looks most like a tree in this dimension. And I'll try to prune some of that up, but right now let's do the roots. I can pick up some trunk if I get rid of some of these roots. But before I do, I don't want to be dumb about this. There's something that kind of resembles a taproot down here that I'd like to sever. That takes a bit of the roots away. And get some more soil out of there. So this is an aerial root right here, which I don't need or don't want. Actually comes from there. See if I can get that any closer. Just started to rain a few minutes ago. The front, this side or this side. It doesn't matter, it's kind of flat. I'll try and fix that. If I get rid of these high roots, what am I losing? And what am I gaining? All right, I'm gonna risk it. Trying to pick up some trunk here. Cut that one off. It's gonna be losing a lot of vigor, but these grow like weeds from cutting, so hopefully I won't regret this. And this one. Okay, that really evens out the root base. I still have a couple of high ones. I might want to leave that guy. Nah. I'm taking chances today. And this guy. Is that it? I'll take the length off of these. And I've got a nice compact root base It's going to be going back in the same type of soil. It's the leftover and used soil of my last year's bonsai soil, which is pretty good stuff. I'll do the next two in time lapse, and then we'll look at them all. All right, I stopped time lapse because this root system is a little more interesting. I'm standing back so I can watch what I'm doing so I don't lift it out of frame accidentally. All right, as you can see, there's a lot of trunk down here. And it was buried before. So I'm going to snip this big root off here. And once again, I'm taking some chances, but this has the opportunity to have a decent trunk and be my main tree. So I've got this root here, and this root here. And you can see a little bit of inverse taper here from here to here where those roots were coming in at this point. It was thickening up above, but I think it wasn't that bad, and I think it'll even out. Okay, it's got a bit of a tap down here too, which I can take back a little bit more of. You see what I'll be losing. Not much. There's one thick root on this side and really not that much else. So let me take that back. Trying not to get anything but what I wanted to get. And that's a pretty nice root base, or the beginnings of. All right, let me just cut it a little bit shorter. I already did in time lapse. It's got kind of an oval root base. But not bad at all. Let's see if we can see that. All right, let's come back, plant these up, and we'll do some pruning. Or should we do the pruning first? That might be best. I don't want to leave these. There's a big root here. Let me get rid of that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's not good. That's going to require a little bit of grinding on my part. Oh well, my fault. Let me get a different shears. All right, so I'm going to start by removing some of the leaves on the interior, exposing what might be branches, certainly primary branches. And this is a struggle that will go on forever. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I got to be sure I keep this low down so you can see what I'm doing. remembering that I want there to be a branch structure and I want it to be visible. I'm kind of just removing anything that keeps me from being able to see the branch structure. And this is a vine. This does not grow like other trees. So you've really got to learn how the tree wants to grow and try and accentuate what the tree is already giving you. If there's a little branch starting, you want to be able to see that little branch. A lot of thinning out that has to happen. And this is not detrimental. I got to keep a front in mind. Or try and find a front. Trying to remove leaves that keep you from being able to see the branch structure. And also, if you're trying to develop some branch structure, you have to start being able to see what you're doing. Here you can see it divides here, and one goes up, and then you got a long one out the side. So this is keeping it from looking like a branch. So if I clear that out, I have an actual division here. I'm not intending to... Oh, did I break that? I broke it. Oh no. All right, so that's no longer a worry. That's a nice shape starting out. And this is going to be something where I'll say, okay, that's it for now, and I'll come back while it's on the bench and make changes as I see fit over time. You know, I'll just bring it in and do a little clip around. Leaves growing back into the tree. Got to clear out in here while still trying to have some sort of branch structure happening. Finding where the apex of the tree wants to be and enabling it to be. I think I'm going to be happy with this in the end, but this is one of those very frustrating things. I have a long segment here. Probably could be shortened to there. I want to make sure this doesn't dry out. I have a little tub of water on the ground. A couple of interior leaves to come out. Here's a long one. Got some crossing things happening here. I think I'm going to refine this after I plant it. Maybe not right away either. Just shorten this side of the roots a little bit. Okay. Put that in some water and I'll get the next one. And we'll do that in time. First, I'm going to get some pumice in the bottom of this pot, basically to take up some room and to keep the drainage clear. This is large pumice that I don't use for anything else. And the pot it was in was very shallow, and the roots filled it nicely. Next, I'm going to use my used bonsai soil, which is exactly the same as what it was growing in, but it's a little bit newer. This has some organic matter in it because it is used, but it's been aging nicely. I think it'll be a good mix for this endeavor. And now I got to think about how I want to arrange these trees. I'm going to start with the largest, most developed tree. And that's this one. I think it should be a little further back than the two smaller trees flanking it on either side. And I want it up about this high. This pot didn't have a really good front anywhere. This is about the best one. It's got a little tab there that I'll knock off. I'm not that concerned about it. It'll be in here for a while. Let me pile up the bonsai soil in the back. Get another scoop ready. And make sure I got a good front on this tree. I like that because it comes at you, but it crosses. Maybe that needs to be a little shorter. Like right there. So is that the front? I think that's the front. Let me see where it is in relation to the front I've chosen. I've got the roots as radial as they can be. It's a good height, a good location in the pot. I'm happier with this than I thought I'd be, which is always a good sign. That'll be worked in. These roots are pretty flat. I don't have to do much working to work it in. I want the trunk showing. And I might have to get a rock on there to hold it in place, but I think it's going to generate roots very quickly. So that's good. It's kind of tilted this way a little bit toward the front. All right, let's get the next tree in there. I think I want to prune this guy up a little bit more so I can see what's going on. And some of these trees are better than others. This one might be the worst. Removing some of the larger leaves if possible. All right, that's it. This is me. I say that's it and I keep going. All right, that's got a pretty decent structure now. Let's look at it. I want this one a little further down. So I'm going to pile this up a little bit. I'm going to move it more away from that tree. So I have some of it in the foreground here. That's about the height I want. I'll trim some of this away so that there's more separation between the trees. This will fill in right away. And let's go to this next tree. Should it be leaning in or away? I think it should be leaning away. This is the front of the planting. Pile it up right here. A little bit more. Yeah, this is turning out quite nice. Yeah, I really like it. It's unusual. I'll have to keep it in here for a little while, just till I'm sure that the trees have taken. They're not having any bizarre effects. I can do some more pruning carefully. I'm going to knock the tree over, and I'll encourage upward growth. So I want these trees to be a little taller. That doesn't look all that bad. And I'll be able to make some adjustments as time goes on. All right. So this is the second in the series of Bonsai as a verb. Let's see what else I can think of that needs doing and I still have time to do today. I'll give it a spin. These are little trees. Let me go down lower so you can look right at it. Sure does look a lot different than it did before. I'll put these off to the side, get them watered, and we'll move on.